Hello and welcome to another exciting Cooking with Unity. I'm your host Max Moreau, and today we're continuing our work on our Invadesque game known as Invadesque. On our last episode, we got to this point. So we have a game where, if I can control things, it's kind of a game. Enemies don't do anything, but you can shoot them. I kind of feel bad for them. And we've got a scoring system, but it doesn't actually display on the screen. If we go into the game manager here, we can see that we've got 2,500. How is that possible? 8, 3, 24. We got an extra one for some reason. Hold on, let's see what's going on with that. $300, $500, $900, $1,300. Do we have an extra enemy somewhere here? Oh, we do. There it is. All right. Delete. There we go. All right. So let's see. So what was happening there is we were getting more points than we should have. We have it assigned to 100 points per enemy, and we were getting an extra point, but it appeared to just be an extra enemy, and there's not our logic being a problem. So console, not console, game manager, 2,400. Cool. The way that we expect it. So, what else do we have going on here? So we've got some bullet clones. When we fire, we create new bullets, and those aren't being cleaned up, so we can clean those up. And we can do a lot of things to improve art, and we can actually make the enemies do something, and we can actually display the score. Let's start with displaying the score. So I'm going to create a UI text. And we're just going to go ahead and... Where is this thing showing up? New text is in the corner there. Where is it? Oh, I see. Okay. So, what are we doing? Canvas settings. Screen place overlay is fine. Additional shader channels. Huh. Wonder what that is. All right. Position X. So we're just going to put this at, let's put it based on the upper left. And let's anchor it to the upper left. So now we can see. So this is all based, if we pretend that this box is our screen, and so this is where it will appear on the screen, so we're not even going to see it on the screen right here. But if we change it a little bit so that it's coming in from the left. Actually, no. Yeah. Pivot. If we put the pivot here at 0, then we can put this at 0. There we go. So I'll bring it into the side of the screen there. Same deal with the top. We can make the pivot at 0. No, actually at 1 in this case. Go down to there, and so now it should say new text in the corner. There we go, perfectly in the corner. So now we can say, hey, we want 10 pixels out, 10 pixels down, negative 10 pixels down, sorry. I mean, 10 pixels in the negative in the up direction, however you want to look at it. Let's call this score. No, wrong keyboard. Yeah, that's right. I have a solution for this. Score. And let's just put some zeros in. Test it out. 100,000, why not? And then we're going to, we don't need to have the height be as high. Yeah, maybe we do, whatever. And we're going to make the text white because it'll show up a little bit better. So now if we go to the game, we've got a score. And we can do the same thing. As I said, I'm going to just going to resize it the manual way. And then clean it up because I have compulsions. And let's go ahead and make it centered within this box. So now we can just duplicate this text box, drag it down a little bit, right there. It'll automatically snap to things, and now we can say like high score. which I will just say hi so that we don't have to reorganize it. Okay, and this is why we actually want it left justified, because that looks terrible. Does it? Yeah, I don't like it. So let's yeah, let's just switch it back to left and left on this. And now we don't have those things mixed. We'll see how that goes. Whatever. So we've got places to display the score now. And we have an idea of how big it is. I'm going to go ahead and just make it so it just says score and just says hi now. Whatever. No, let's just leave it so that we know. So that we see the shame of how badly laid out that is. I keep saying, I thought I was through this phase. So getting back into it. So let's make it so this actually displays a score. So we're going to create a quick little script to just glue the score in. And so we're just going to create a display score. Alright, so all we're going to do is an update. Public text. Oh yeah, that's right. So we're using UI, so we need to add the using Unity Engine UI directive, which I failed to add copy paste. Sometimes that happens when you switch between Windows and Mac a whole lot. You end up not knowing which button you're going to press for paste. UI. So now we have a text, and we're going to call this the score text, public text, high score text. And then all we do is score text equals. So remember, we made a game manager before, so we're going to get the game manager dot instance dot score dot toString. Now this will wipe out everything that we said in the score text. So what we actually want to do is change it so that we have both the words that we want and the other thing. So we're going to say score, just like we have in the display, plus the, and then we're going to put a space here so that it actually spaces out. So that should show us our score. And sorry, it's not score text equals this. We want score text.text to equal this. We would have gotten a compile error otherwise. So not too big a worry, would have been pretty easy to fix. Maybe I should have just let it happen, but I didn't. And again, I failed at copy paste. So score text, so high score text, high score.text. High score text.text. There we go. Hi. And this time, instead of score, we use high score. So if we save this, we can throw this script on anything. Might as well put it on the game manager. So I'm going to put display score on here. And then inside there, we're going to put the text one, which I'm actually going to rename to score and high score. So now we go back to game manager, fill in the other blank here, high score. We hit play. And you see it says 0 there, that's good. Yep, they're going up. We're now seeing score going up on the screen. Yay, so we hooked that system up. So that's one more thing done on our game. Whoops. Oh yeah, that's right, I can use Z to shoot too. Because we changed that last time because of me switching windows too often. All right. Let's do some graphic stuff. So I prepared a player ship sprite. We're also going to make another sprite on the show. Actually, do I have this set up? Okay, good. I guess it's set up. But yes, so we have a player ship sprite. This I already included in the files on GitHub. So if you grab latest, if you clone from latest, you'll get the the new ship, so you should be able to just work with it like me. The links are in the description as usual. So we're going to change the import settings. So this, all I did was drag this thing in here. I didn't do any setup on it. So we're going to do the setup on the show so you see how this works. So this texture, we're going to make it a sprite. And it's just a single sprite. It's a little ship thing. Super, super tiny. If we zoom in, there we go. It's going to look like that. It's going to look really ghetto. I went with a very low resolution just because it excuses me to... it takes less time to make bad art when you have less to work with. So, let's see how wide we actually made this thing. I think it's 8 by 8. It's amazing how small that is these days. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 by 8. So we're going to say pixels per unit 8. That's what we're going to stick with. And I'm going to go ahead and create a packing tag for this. It does. You don't have to do this, but basically if you put things in a packing tag, it'll add them all to the same sprite sheet, and then you get less draw calls when they're actually called. So I'm going to just create a packing tag called sprites. And that all looks pretty good. Now we're going to change a couple of things here. Filter mode we definitely want on point. Actually, I'll show you why we want it on point. So let's hit apply here. It's in sprite mode. We're ready to go. Let's go ahead and replace the player with this. So we're going to double click on our player. And our player is this little cube dude. We're going to drag this player ship sprite into it. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure this zeroed out. And I'm going to zero out that. And we can't really see it because we've still got this cube here. So I'm just going to temporarily turn off the mesh render in case we need the cube again later. So we have this player ship sprite that we can't see. And that's probably because it's at the wrong angle. So if I go to the player ship sprite, there it is. You can see that it is, first of all, it's in the wrong place. It's at 3. This should be at 0. So now it's back where the player is. And it's turned the wrong direction. And it looks blurry as anything. It looks awful. Look how bad that looks. And that's because we are using bilinear filtering on this, which basically means blur the pixels together so that they're more seamless, which looks great on textures, but looks really bad on sprites. So, especially ones that are this low resolution. So we're going to change this to point. There we go. Looks amazingly better. And it's funny that we're in like 3D here, but we're kind of making a 2D game. But that's the fun of it, right? You can make a 2D game and a 3D game. So, but you have to worry about rotation. So let's rotate this thing so that it actually is facing up. So we're gonna, I think, not negative 90. No, just 90. There we go. Now if we go to our game, we have a ship. Yay! We hit play, and we can continue to play the game as before, but we now have a cool little ship thing. Yay. So that's how you add things. We're going to do it to the enemies next. So let's do some sprite art. This is not my strong point, so we're going to go to Piskel. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, piskelapp.com. I'm just going to hit create sprite. You don't even have to sign in. You can just do this. This is a pretty great little sprite editor that's free that you can just get online. We're going to change the size here. Again, smaller means that we can be done faster. And actually, I'm tempted to make this actually 7 by 7 so that we can make the enemies have a narrower axis. So like this has kind of a wide face because I wanted to keep it symmetrical, and that requires 2 pixels for symmetricality. But if we do 7 pixels, we can use a centerline pixel for the enemy, and I think it'll make them have kind of a more angular look, which will make them, I mean, angular means bad, I guess, in visual language. So let's give that a shot. We're going to hit resize, and we're not going to be too picky on colors here. We're just going to pick stuff out. But let's block it out with, what did I use? Did I actually have an outline on this guy? Yeah, I have an outline. So let's block it out with dark red so that we establish them as bad guys. Because red is also associated with bad, I guess. Red and angular, that's what we're going for. So, I'm just gonna, actually, might as well have them facing down, who cares? You can always flip it in an editor later. And they're going to be facing down, so this will give us a better idea of how this is going to look. So, let's create a brighter red now. Yeah, I don't like how that looks. So, let's keep this bright red around for like a cockpit. And then, what do we want to use for the inside? How about maybe we'll use black for the inside. Let's see how that looks, just for the fun of it. Like, yeah. Should I fill the back end with... Okay, so we've got this dark red. Let's go back to this dark red and... Yeah, let's move the whole thing down a little bit. Just chunk that. Whoops, that's not how it works. Copy. And then paste. Is that how it works? There we go. That didn't do what I wanted it to do. Alright, I'm not too worried about it. Let's just put like a thruster on the back or something. But that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get this less... It's not going to be good art no matter what, how long I spend on this. Let's just see how it looks in the game. So we're going to... Actually, let's make it so that this thing flashes some. Well, we're just going to do it as a sprite animation. So we're just going to add a new frame. Just duplicate this frame. And we'll just make it flash like white. I don't know, white and red. Why I did that? Oh, I'm in selection mode. Like, it looked kind of white. Yeah, sure, why not? So let's save this out. So we're gonna do, actually no, export is what we want. So PNG, Sprite Sheet layout options, columns, rows. So it'll just be 2 in a row. And we'll just download this. So, I guess 2 in a column, not 2 in a row. We're going to call this bad guy. Actually, I'm going to call him baddie. Baddier. Yeah, I like that better. No. Baddie. So, point, sprite. We're still going to use 8 pixels per unit because we want it to be consistent with the sprite size there, even though there's only 7. It's only 7 by 7. We can pick one or the other to use it as our scale, and that's what we did already. So I'm just going to stick with it. Let's go ahead and put it in the sprite sheet. So if we hit apply. So now if we want to see the sprite sheet, we can actually see it. Like if we go to Sprite Packer, Sprite Packing is disabled. So go to Editor Settings, Sprite Packer, always enabled. Let's just do it. And now if we go to Sprite Packer, pack, there we go. This is actually our sprite sheet. It's 32 by 32, so we are wasting some space here because they just make a minimum size for it. And you'll see that it looks a little weird because we've got these like green lines coming out the sides and stuff, and that's actually just because of how they store this information. Also, you'll see that the color has gotten really kind of bad. Actually, if we hit play, it'll probably make our color look really bad on our player ship here. Yeah, see, it became this like puke green. And this is important. This is because before... we were using compression in both cases, but there was less colors to work with before, so it could compress okay. DXT5 does some really localized compression for color depth, so it works really, 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 really bad for sprite sheets. So what we should do is on both of these enemies is we should change them to use compression of none and hit apply, which is fine. They're super small. It doesn't matter that we're not dying for memory on this. So we're going to set it to none here on this. And now if we hit play, it'll redo the Sprite Atlas, and now it doesn't look bad. And if we go back to the Sprite Atlas in the Sprite Packer, you'll see that the colors are now fixed up. You'll still see that there's this weird like red area and green area. This is because when these get put on the screen, based on how the texels line up, texels are like the pixels on the texture itself, you can get like some bleeding. And so they basically add these pixels that are colored so that the edges don't bleed. They do that for you automatically for nice reasons. So let's fix up our enemies now. Now that we have an enemy, we're going to do the same deal. We're going to put baddie. Actually, oh, that's a problem. So we said this is a single. Let's just do it for the fun of it. So we're going to put this on the enemy, and we're going to see that it looks like 2 enemies as opposed to 1 enemy. So let's go ahead and zero this out. So this on this one, and let's go ahead and turn the mesh renderer off. So we want this guy to actually look like 1 ship that's flashing, not 2 ships. So we need to actually change this. This is in sprite mode single. We actually want sprite mode multiple. I almost said polygon just because it was there when I was reading it. And so what we actually want is we want to slice this, and since this is super simple, we can slice it using the automatic tools. Well, actually, automatic is not what we want, but grid by cell count is super easy. We've got 1 column, actually no, yeah, 1 column, 2 rows. Slice, apply. Now, when we go here, we've got baddie 0 and baddie 1. These represent our 2 frames. And you see that it already fixed our baddie. He now doesn't have the bad frame problem. But he's probably not animated. We'll get that fixed in a second. For now, let's just get this replaced on all the other enemies, which all we should have to do is hit apply, and if everything goes right, bam, we have all enemies. That's why we created prefab in the last episode. So now we've got enemies. They still do the same thing that they did before. Yay. There's some art. We made art today. Crazy. So, save scene, save project. Good time to save. I hate the way that ship looks, but we're going to stick with it for right now. Let's make it animate. So we have this baddie. Let's add component animator. Let's see if we can just get away with an animation, actually. Let's see if that'll work. And we're going to create a window called animation. Where is it? There it is. We didn't want an animator, we want an animation. I'm going to dock this underneath here. And we're going to create a clip. We're going to call this animation, whatever we want to call it, just flash. I don't know. Baddie anim. All right, animation. Baddie anim. So now we can put this in our animation clip here. And hopefully, if we just drag these things in here, does that work? Perfect, I think that worked. Maybe. Let's just undo it. Maybe it just worked exactly right. So let's go ahead and hit play. Okay, stop recording. Hit play. That didn't do anything. So it's set to automatically play. Play automatically is on. Alright, let's zoom in on this a bit, because we only have 2 frames. So it should cycle between them. Oh yes, probably not looping. So if we go to the baddie anim here, wrap mode, we can set it to loop. So note, if you don't put an animator, an animation on here first, and you just hit record, you're going to get an animation. Sorry. If you don't put an animation on here and you hit record, it's going to automatically put an animator on, which is the newer animation system. We really don't need it for this case. We're just doing a looping animation, so that's the reason I put an animation on. So this is actually the legacy thing. Both are still here because they're both still useful. this saves us from having to create a state machine and other things like that. We might do some of that later or in a different episode, but and we've done it in the past, but this one is simple enough that I'm just going to do it this way. So hit apply, hit play. Hopefully still not quite working, is it? I don't see any flickering on any of the enemies. We should see it on the upper left one, I'm assuming. No. On this one. Which is the upper left one. Ha! I would just turn around. So, how do we do this? So it says that it's animating. Frame 0, frame 1. I'm not seeing it update in the view for some reason. Odd. I see a difference in the little tiny preview. Alright, so let's just try it the other way then. So I said that we avoided using an animator because I'm just going to keep this baddie anim. Baddie anim, what are we going to call this? Classic. Actually, let's just call it anime. Legacy. That's what we want. Anim Legacy. Alright. Baddie, we're going to get rid of your animation component. We're going to instead hit, if I just hit record, okay, so now we hit create. We're going to call this baddie anim again. As you'll see this a little bit different now we have this controller, we have this baddie anim, it created baddie and baddie anim here. And we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're just going to drag these frames in to here. Oh, and now it's flashing. You can see it flashing there. But it's only going to flash once, and we can't just do what we did last time where we can... Oh, it says loop time. I mean, we can. So if we just hit play... Oh, it worked. It's flickering way too fast. Because it's flickering at 60 frames per second. We can just change that by changing the samples here. So I'm just going to make it 24 FPS. Hit play. There we go. Let's make it a little bit slower. 12 FPS. Alright. And now we can make all the enemies do that by just hitting apply. They'll all flash at the same time, but that's okay. Let's make it so that they don't flash at the same time. So how can we do that? So I'm going to change this a little bit. We're going to go back to 24 so that we have more resolution to work with, but then we're going to change it so that this happens on this frame. So this should be about the same as it looked before. Wait, I need to hit apply. Actually, I probably didn't need to hit apply because we were changing that prefab. Yeah, it looks the way it did before, but we have a little bit more time resolution now. And actually, let's just do that at 60. Let's get as much time resolution as we can. We're making a modern game, right? Just stretching out the timing on this. Oh, the problem here is it's not an even amount of time. So let's go ahead and create one more keyframe with the baddie 1 here. So we're going to change it like... We're going to make it so it flashes a little bit longer on the white there. Alright, cool. so it flashes a little bit less often. And now let's randomize it. So we're going to create a script, C# script. Actually, let's see if we can do this in the... so this is the animator setup that they automatically made for us, which just says play baddie animation, which that's simple enough. Transitions, yeah, this doesn't have the information that we want. What was I trying to do? So we want to randomize the starting time. Hopefully I'll be able to do this easily. Oops, don't want JavaScript. Nothing wrong with JavaScript, just we're not using it. Create. I still highly recommend you using C# for Unity though. I really feel like this was not a good episode, but it's okay. Gotta get all the bad ones out of my system, right? New behavior script, randomize animation start. Call it animator start. I'm probably gonna have to look some stuff up. So all we're gonna do is in start, we're gonna grab our component. So we're gonna create a private animator start. We're gonna grab the animator by using get component. Actually have to assign that to something. So we're going to make animator equals get component animator. And then what we're going to do is animator dot, what do we have in animator dot? Playback time. So it's the playback position in the recording buffer. So what does playback time look like? It just wants a float. So playback time equals random.range. Actually, it's random.value. Let's see what this does. So this should give us a value between 0 and 1. I'm assuming that playback time is a normalized time, though it might be in seconds, which will make this not work very well. Let's find out what it is. I'm going to search for animator playback time. Playback tone. All right. In seconds. Okay, yeah, we don't want that. Is there normalized? Here, let's just search the internet. Why is this not on this pane? What's it called? Let's search for normalized playback time animator. State layer normalized time. Okay, sweet. You can just use play. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the baddies to not play automatically. Wait, that, huh? They're gonna automatically play automatically. Let's just see what happens. We're just gonna copy this. Throw away. Let's check and see if there's another one. Oh, force state normalized time. There we go. That looks like what we want. Dot force. This is why you keep. Oh. So use play or crossfade instead. All right, fine. So we've got state name hash, layer, normalized time. So we have to give it a state name. So what I'm going to do is, to make this work in a generic fashion, we're going to use animator. We're going to query the state name, hopefully, dot state. Current animator state info. Layer 0. We're getting into no man's land here. Dot. Actually, that might be better. Let's just do animator get current animator state photo dot normalized time. Is this writable? It is. No, it's just get. All right, never mind. Play. We'll get here eventually. Dot name. Full path hash instead. All right, so what's the other thing that we can use here for play? Fun times. This should be easy, and it's not. I'm just doing that to allow me to type something down here. Animator dot play. All right, state name hash. So I'm assuming that's not the short name hash. I'm assuming that's the very badly named animator state info full path hash. All right, that's what we probably want. So we play that. We play on layer 0. They use -1 here. Is there a reason for that? Yeah, maybe we should just do -1. I think that means all. And then finally, random.range, not range, sorry, random.value. So hopefully, after all of that, if we throw one of these on an enemy baddie, and we hit apply, and we hit play, maybe, yay! They're flashing in a sequence, kind of. Actually, it's random, but it's cool. I like it. Looks a lot better than them all flashing in sequence. I mean, in all at the same time. Yay! We've still got 10 minutes. Let's make some sounds. Let's just make it so that when we shoot, we have a sound, and when we blow things up, we have a sound. Sounds. How are we going to do this? ASFXR. Can't type an R. So, SFXer is a tool that was made for Ludum Dare or Dare a long time ago. And I have Flash Player, don't I? Yeah. Let it happen. Thank you. All right. So what this allows you to do is just generate sounds really, really stupid easy. And I'm probably going to have to remember to edit this video at the end to make the sounds not be ridiculously overshooting my voice. So hopefully this won't be a problem for you. So we've just got some things. You can switch between modes, but you can also do like just a type, and it will automatically pick some things and randomize things. So we're just going to create some random sounds using this and then use them. So we want an explosion. I like that. That's a nice simple one. I'm going to save that one. Short explode. We'll save it into downloads. Save. SFS file. That's not what I want. Export wave. That's what I want. Downloads. And we want to call this small explode. Small explosion. If I look at it too long, it gets a better name. So let's just see if there's another one we want. That's kind of a cool shot sound. Call this blaster. Let's make some lasers. Sure, nice little traditional one there. Pew pew laser. And yeah, that's enough. Yeah. And then the next episode we'll do some final cleanup. We'll do a background, and we'll make these guys move around and do some bad things, and actually have a title screen and stuff. So we still have a reason to do a third episode. So it'll be the same length as the original time that we did this, but it'll be a little bit more polished, considering we're past where we were before. Well, not quite. We need to add the sound first, but we're going to be. So let's just add these to our project. We can just drag them in. We're going to do some organization at the end of this episode, too. So we have these sound effects we're going to place on... the bullets are going to be easy. We can just put the pew pew laser on the bullet and tell it to play on start. I did not succeed at putting the pew pew laser. I guess that doesn't work. Okay. Oh, there, now it worked. No, it didn't. Okay, add component, sound, no, audio, player, wait, what is it? Audio source. Then we're going to put pew pew laser in here, and we're going to say, play on awake, cool. Hit play. So now if we hit, why do we get a sound right at the start? We have a bullet in here somewhere. Oh, that's what happened. Somehow put them in there? Weird. Alright. Let's check the video to see what actually happened there. Yeah, so we got sounds for shooting things. Great. Now let's make sounds for blowing up. That's pretty easy too. What are we going to do? So enemies, when they blow up right now, all they do is we just say destroy game object enemy. What we're going to also do now is we're going to spawn something. So player currently spawns bullets. We've got an instantiate prefab that we created. So we're going to do the same thing on here. We're just going to add Unity event helper. We're going to drag this in. And we want Unity event helper instantiate prefab. And we need a prefab, so we're going to create a just an empty game object. And I'm going to call this enemy explosion. But we're just going to have a sound on it for right now. So we're just going to throw this small explosion. Will this work this time? See, that worked. You can't do it on the prefabs, though. That's weird. That's a weird bug. So small explosion. Yeah, let's go with that one. And I'm just going to create a prefab by dragging it over here. Delete it from the scene. Oh, yeah. Play on awake is already on. Cool. And so now if we go to our enemy, drag in this enemy explosion, and then we hit apply. So notice that we have destroy here first. This will get called first, but destroy won't actually destroy the enemy till the end of the frame, so it'll still be able to create this explosion, hopefully. And so if things go right, we have explosions. Cool. I'm going to call that a wrap. Not yet. Okay, we're just going to reorganize these things. So, create folder, call this prefabs, create folder, scripts. Oh, notice that we got a material for our baddie, because when we dragged the baddie in, why do we have a material for the baddie? That doesn't even make sense. If I delete this, does it cause any problems? No. Okay, good. Well, we don't need it. It probably created that when we initially imported that enemy. So scripts, we put in these scripts. Prefabs, we put in these prefabs. Folder sounds. And create a folder sprites. I'm going to go ahead and put the animation data in the sprites folder too. What am I using here? There we go. Sorry, again, it's keyboard nonsense. That's my excuse at least. Sprites. Actually put the sprites into put the pew pew laser in sounds. Add score on trigger enter in scripts. And we only have one scene and one other thing, so we'll just leave those out loosely for now. And I'm just going to create a subfolder in here called animation stuff. We'll put these things in here. There we go. All right, looks pretty good. I'd say that's a wrap. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions, please email me, max@max.cool. You can also reach me at Dragfire on Twitter, and you can also email me pushypixels@pushypixels.com if the first email address bothers you for some reason. Anyway, you guys have a great one, and I'll see you next week.